Sir. Yes, test. Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. Mr. Suter, would you mind taking roll for us?
Yes. Supervisor Day.
Here.
Supervisor
Here.
Supervisor Lyon.
Here. Here.
Supervisor Lewis.
Absent. We will now have a prayer for the board, followed by a pledge of allegiance. For those attending are not required to participate. Would you like to join us? Please stand.
Our Heavenly Father, we thank you again for this night of meetings. Be with us as we go through our budget hearing process. Forgive us our many sins. This we ask in thy name. We ask that you be with those again that have lost loved ones and comfort them in this time. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We will do our best to take public hearing comments remotely. There are two options for citizens to offer comment. To join by telephone, you may dial into one of the numbers listed on the county website. Webinar ID and password are there for your convenience. Citizens wishing to simply view the meeting live or after the fact can do so on the Rockbridge County Board of Supervisors YouTube channel, also available on the county website. If you wish to make a citizen comment as a Zoom meeting participant, you will use the raise your hand feature. You can press the raise your hand button at the bottom of the Zoom window or press *9 if you're calling in by telephone. We have the public hearing for the FY 2023 draft budget. Would you like to make a few opening comments, Mr. Suter?
Yes, this has, everybody knows, it's been a challenging budget process for sure. As usual, we start out with a significant gap between revenues and requested expenditures. Then we found ourselves without a finance director, and the challenges multiplied. We were able, with the support of the board, to secure some excellent guidance from VML VACO's John Montoro, and then landed Ashton Harrison to my left, who quickly got up to speed on the final lap. I'd like to thank all involved, and that starts with all staff and department heads who delivered good, supported, and realistic budget requests. And then also John, then Ashton, of course, the Finance Committee, and of special importance this year was Ms. Huffman and also the Commissioner of the Revenue's Office for their assistance in navigating the personal property tax. I'm not going to say issue, but opportunity to reduce that tax. 2 weeks ago, we presented a final draft balanced budget. It's been duly advertised, and tonight is the public hearing on the budget, and we also have a hearing on separating the personal property tax categories into discrete rates, and that has also been duly advertised. And so as Ashton's getting up to speed, I've asked him to present the budget highlights this evening. After that, we can take any questions from the board. Then you can open the public hearing. And at this point, I'll ask if there's any questions or any comments from the Finance Committee. Mr. McDaniel or Supervisor McDaniel is present, or board members before we begin with the budget.
The comment I'd like to make is just, obviously it was a challenging year with the finance director vacancy for a while, and with the state in limbo with their budget. There was a lot of assumptions that had to be made, a lot of long hours, a lot of work, and you're good at thanking other people, I'd want to thank you and Ashton, who's come on board, and John, and Ms. Huffman, and of course, Mr. Weitzel and his staff, all of which provided the Finance Committee tremendous amount of work and research to help make our jobs easier. And also like to thank the board for your comments and input and helping us to achieve a balanced budget.
Yes, in addition to the aforementioned persons, I also would like to thank Spencer for his patience and helping with all the questions I've had and more to come. And he's been very patient and responsive when I have questions, and he makes that time available. So I appreciate that. Getting right to it. First thing, the vehicle personal property tax has been reduced from $4.50 to $3.80. The remaining personal property is at $4.50. Machinery and tools stays the same at $2.55, and real property stays the same at 74 cents. The budget includes employee salaries increased to 90% of the market rate study conducted by the county. And it also includes a 5% COLA for all county employees and constitutional employees. We did include the salary supplements for the district court, 1,000 for full-time and 500 for part-time, starting July 1. 501c3s were returned to their pre-pandemic funding levels where requested. Transfer to school operations. The total is $15,979,783, which is $282,068 above FY22. The school division anticipates a 5% cost of living adjustment in the state budget with the potential for an additional 1% budget. The recommended amount.
That's a 1% bonus.
The recommendation is to fund the local cost of bonus from either the end of the year FY22 school savings or appropriation from the county's general fund, or a combination of both, should the state provide funding for a portion of the bonus. We talked about that last time. We'll have to, as you said, Mr. McDaniel, well, until the budget school or the state does their budgets.
Yeah, I don't think I believe the House and Governor's version did, and I may have that confused, but two of them did not include the bonus, and maybe the Senate did include a bonus, but that's still getting ironed out. So we're not real sure. Before you move on to your next point, I do think it's important that we discuss the personal property, the pieces of the personal property that are actually being reduced. It's not everything within personal property. It's automobiles, passenger trucks, motor vehicles with specifically designed equipment, motorcycles, mopeds, all-terrain vehicles, off-road motorcycles, campers, and recreational vehicles. And everything else will stay at the $4.50 rate. It's just important to point that out.
The total general fund budget is $57,543,833. The main areas of increase involve public safety, health insurance, and expenditure lines associated with formula-related transfers based on increased revenue in meals and lodging taxes. So that's a total of $8,479 over the FY22 budget. However, point one, $4,336,461 is in ARPA revenue, and that's set aside in a specific ARPA fund. That number is Fund 205, and a copy has been handed out to you. Point two, $655,004 has been transferred to the capital funds that is their one-time expenses. So when you take those out, the total general fund increase is effectively $3,009,014 or 6.1 increase compared with the CPI ending March 2022, which was 8.5%. In short, the budget increase is less than an inflation rate while providing personal property tax relief. We did receive one public comment. A citizen asked a question about the ARPA money and wanted to make sure the county did not consider this ongoing revenue. We informed him that a separate fund has been established for that account, both on the revenue and the expenditure side. Finally, as a reminder, the adoption is next week, and we'll be asking the board to approve the capital improvement plan along with the budget. That the CIP plan was provisionally adopted in January, and there has been no changes to date. And there's handouts of Fund 372 and 376, which are the capital funds, and also Fund 205. And that includes our overview. Do you have any questions for us?
Also, I think it's important to point out that through our discussions in the Finance Committee, the Commissioner of Revenue was able to run our fleet of vehicles that are within the county, all the personal property vehicles through JD Power to get an approximate value of them. And that average rate of increase across all of those vehicles was 13%. Now, that doesn't mean that every single vehicle is going up 13%. Some may go up 25%, some may go down 10%. It's just an average across, thousands of vehicles. So I think it's important for our citizens to understand that. And also, I think it's important to understand that while we are reducing the personal property tax rate to help our citizens, it's not necessarily, some people's personal property taxes may increase just because their vehicle appreciated so much. But we're doing our part to try to limit the impact. It was never our intent to equalize taxes with that reduction. I just think it's important that people understand. I don't want anybody to have any surprises when they get the personal property tax rate. It may go up a few dollars, but by us lowering the tax rate, we're trying to minimize the impact. It would have gone up considerably more if we'd have left it alone. So I just think it's important to point that out to our citizens. And some people's personal property taxes may go down, depending on what their vehicle valuation has done. So does the board have any questions or comments or concerns before we move into public hearing? But at this point, we'll open up the public hearing. Is there anyone on the line that wishes to address the board?
We have one person on the line, and if they want to speak, they need to raise their hand. If not, just viewing, then don't have to raise your hand. And there's obviously no one present.
We have one. Anyone in the audience would like to address?
Anything for you, Doug, as a citizen?
Was there any written comments or emails or anything that came in?
Just the earlier comment, and it really wasn't a comment, it was more of a question that Ashton got from a citizen, and he explained it to them that we were not considering the ARPA funds ongoing, and that obviously someone was really paying attention, and it was a good question to ask.
Yeah, it's a very good question.
Well, at this point, I don't know about other board members. I've only received one comment from a citizen, and that was about the personal property tax rate, about what would happen to the bill. And so it depends on what your vehicle does. We're reducing the rate, but it depends on whether your vehicle appreciates in value or depreciates, and we're just trying to help you out as much as possible with that. All right, if there's nothing else, we will close the public hearing. All right, for the budget.
And again, the budget adoption meeting is 1 week from today, same place, same time. when the board would vote on that.
Also tonight, we have public hearing, a second public hearing for a code to amend to establish separate classification of personal property for certain vehicles. Mr. Suter, would you like to go over that?
Yeah, I'll try not to replow all the ground that we've already covered, but it just very briefly, based on the work completed by Commissioner Revenue's Office, Ms. Montoro, and the Finance Committee, we were able to estimate the projected increase in vehicle values. And you've already listed the ones that this would apply to, but again, it's automobiles, passenger trucks, motor vehicles with specially designed equipment for use by the handicapped, motorcycles, mopeds, ATVs, off-road motorcycles, campers, and other recreational vehicles. We don't tax all those. We do motorcycles and campers. And reduce that rate on those by 70 cents from $4.50 per hundred to $3.80 per hundred. And fortunately, Commonwealth passed a law this spring, which establishes a separate classification for those vehicles from all other business and personal property. A local ordinance is required to separate these classifications. And as previously noted, the ordinance was duly advertised for public hearing at this time and date. The ordinance is in your package, and I do think it's important to stress that this is only in effect for 3 years, till 2026, I believe. And with fluctuating vehicle values, the board may have to revisit this in the future. I think the board's desire was to limit the impact on citizens and taxpayers for this year, but depending on where the vehicle rates go, you may have to revisit it either up or down in the future. At this point, I'd like to ask Ms. Huffman if she has anything to add. She was kind enough to draft the ordinance.
Are there any questions, comments, concerns from board? Yeah, I do think your point is well taken and bears repeating, in that every budget year is different, and every year the board will need to do what it feels is appropriate with taxes, whether to raise, lower, or whatnot, depending on the requests that come in. And with this year, with the budget the way it was, we were able to reduce that impact, but that's not necessarily the case for any year thereafter. All right, if there's no other questions, comments, we'll open public hearing on the code to amend to establish separate classification of personal property for certain vehicles. Is there anyone online that wishes to address the board?
Two folks online, no one has a hand raised.
Is there anyone in public present that would like to address the board?
We have not received any written or verbal comment.
At this point, if no one wishes to address the board, we will close the public hearing. Just a reminder that we have the budget adoption meeting Tuesday, May the 3rd at 6 o'clock to be held in this meeting room located here at the Rockbridge County Administrative Office Building at 150 South Main Street, Lexington, Virginia.
I didn't really put it in the notes. I apologize, but we would need a motion and a vote to adopt that ordinance.
So,
Mr. Chair, I'd like to move to adopt the proposed ordinance.
is there a second?
Second?
Mr. Lyons,
Yes.
Ms. Ayers,
Yes.
Mr. Day,
Yes.
and chair votes yes.
Thank you.
Sorry about that.
No, I forgot to put it in the notes.
You might want to give a time to that budget meeting. I don't think you mentioned that. Is that 6 p.m. on 3, May 3rd?
May 3rd.
6 p.m.
May 3rd, 6 p.m.
Yes, May 3rd, 6 p.m. Is there any other questions, comments from anybody? Sir, motion to adjourn? Second.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Lyons?
Yes.
Mr. Day?
Yes.
Ms. Ayers?
Yes.
And chair votes yes as well.
Thank you all.
Thank you.